What a mighty God we serve. It's unbelievable. From the first photo of Russell that you saw to winning this car, his life is transformed. Not only did it happen like that, Russell moves us then to the next level of the thread. So the person now that we want to talk about after Russell is Susan Chard. I just want us to welcome Susan Chard to part 2 of this thread. This girl I'm about to talk about, her name is Susan. Susan is Russell's wife. A challenge came and things did not go well with Susan. I've never seen a person sick to that extent. First and foremost, let me say this. In Susan, almost she got sick to such an extent that every part of her body was just falling apart. You come to these scans, all the doctors are telling you this, we cannot see the kidneys, we cannot see the lungs. Everything is just gone down. We can't even see it on the scans. This person, there's no life. And we were given a time to say, this girl, on such a day, we have got to switch off the machines because she's not responding to nothing. So the family was called, and the day for switching the machines was mentioned to be the following day. All this time, when Susan was deteriorating, I wasn't going into the hospital. I could just get feedback from people at church. Not because I was busy, no. The way I operate and the way I function, and why people call me an apostle of solutions. I don't just respond carnally, because there's people that are supposed to respond carnally. As a spiritual person, I have to approach every situation with a spiritual insight. My challenge before God, when I'm going or approaching a situation, I have always said, as was said in the book of life, Lord, if you're not going with me, I'm not going. What it means to say is, dress me with a solution so that I don't just go and add numbers of people that have attended the situation, but let me be the one that's carrying the solution to the situation before us. That's how I challenge God, because of the grace of God that is vested and invested upon my life. In that community, God starts to give me solutions. One day before the machines were switched off, midnight, 12 midnight, I was told, instructed to be in the hospital. When I got in there, the direction was I had to get in there just before 12 midnight and make sure that the beginning of the new day I'm there. For spirituality, it had a reason. We call it a spiritual direction, where darkness has to make sure that it's come to an end. And I'm also starting a new day in light. What it meant to say is I had to do that to close the chapter of sickness in dark area, and then open a new chapter of life in making sure that somebody has got life. During that time, I met some nurses in the hospital who were just looking at me. Some were looking at me funny. Others just looked at me to try and see what it is that I was going to do. I got in there and I said, God, if it's men we have concluded, there's no life in this person. The doctors are right that they have to switch off the machines. I looked at the scans, nothing is showing. Then I knew we had a situation. But remember, I challenged God to say, if you don't go with me, I'm not going. When I got there, I said, let me say the prayer. I said the prayer, the nurses were watching, say the prayer, and say, can life be restored? If it means to say it can be restored. My trust in you, O God, cannot be measured by men. It's my faith in you that I've seen you use me, use of me, to bring people in this situation back to life. If life be, I speak it right now. Guess what? The legs moved. When the legs moved, I stopped the prayer and I thanked God. And I told the nurses that I'll see you, I'm going. Make sure before the machines are switched, they call me, but something is going to happen. Then I left the hospital. At that point in time, I was a lunatic. People were looking at me funny. But one nurse saw it. She was on a night shift. Instead of going home in the morning after the shift, she stayed behind. I still remember her name. I will recall it and I'll say it. There's nothing to hide there. So the family then came the following day in the morning as instructed by the doctor, wanting to switch the machines, and I'd called Russell to say, I've been to the hospital, I've prayed for Susan, whatever is going to happen, we leave it in the hands of God. But before they switch the machines off, make sure you call me. So Russell then called me that they are about to switch off the machines, and I said, let it be, and let the will of God be done. The minute they switched off the machines, Susan's legs started to move. Then the nurse who was there said, there's a man, he came last night. When he prayed, these legs moved. The doctor was astonished. The doctor was surprised. So when I was called into the hospital, I said, okay, give me an hour or two, I'll be there. To them, they want it to be done very fast. But this time now, remember, I'm not working in the time of man. I'm working in the time of God. Because I'm trying to pay attention in the spirit to understand the next step in instructions on what I needed to do. So I then went to the hospital, met up with the doctor, discussed, and I told him, you know what? When I prayed for her last night, God told me that she'll come back to life. So let's keep the faith. The doctor says to me, you know what? She moved the legs. Then I said, that's exactly what happened last night. The minute that happened, I knew life had come back to this one. You continue with your medical expertise. Give her the best treatment you can ever give her. This girl will come to life. The doctor was so puzzled. He was asking me questions. And what I like about the doctor, he was a Christian. He goes to one of these big churches and say, I've never seen anything like this. Men of God, I'm starting to have this faith in me that this girl can come back to life. Because I'm starting to see life. This was Susan. Take a look at these photos before I continue. As you can see, the images are very disturbing. You will never believe. You don't tell me anything to do with leprosy and tell me I've never seen it. Meat is falling off the person. Nothing is being held. They could not hold you with any portion you would hold, it will fall off. That's how bad things were. Blood was no longer flowing, as you can see from the photos. But guess what? We serve a miracle working God. And grace is not fed. Grace is exercised. Look at the current person right now. You will not believe what a beautiful girl she is. What a beautiful, beautiful girl it is. There's something I always joke about, and I tell people that, you know what, if you are sick and I pray for you, you become beautiful. Oh, for sure. When the Holy Spirit residing in you, broods upon you, He transforms you. Look at how beautiful she is. Look at how happy she is. Can you believe it? Can you compare these photos with the current photos? It's unbelievable. What a mighty God we serve. This is the Chard thread. Firstly, we had Russell. Secondly, this time we had Susan. Then thirdly, we are going to Alicia. All of these people, this is Russell Chard, Susan Chard, Alicia Chard. Like I always say, when you minister or when grace ministers, it wins people from the family. And the people, they are the first ones to minister. They are the first ones to witness. When they witness, there is nothing that stops them from coming to church. This is the Chard story. Let's go to Alicia and see the hand of God, the mighty hand of God, working within the Chard family. If you thought the first one was by chance, let's hear what you're going to say about the second one. If you think the first one and the second one were by chance, let's hear what you're going to say about the third one. Because all of these are serious situations that needed serious grace. I always tell people, I'm not called of God. I'm chosen. I'm a special vessel. Let's watch.